Euphigenia Doubtfire, dear. I specialize in the education and entertainment of 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 entertainment. Candy and the sun. Could you make me a woman? Showtime. I know you're used to Lucy, but I run daggers for you, daggers for you. I know you're used to Lucy, but I run. Go pump, pump, pump some neurons. I know you're used to Lucy. Dinner, dinner, dinner. Such a shun. It tastes good. Such a shun. I know you're used to Lucy, but I run. Surprise. Hip hop, bebop. Dance till you drop. Hip hop, bebop. Doesn't mean that they don't love. Hip hop, bebop. Bop, bop, bop. Dance till you drop. Hip hop, bebop. Just a little bit of nicotine. The sun. Just a little bit of nicotine. Cream in your sugar now. A little bit of nicotine. Doesn't mean that they don't love you.
Should've never had a birthday party. Should've never had a birthday party. Should've never had a birthday party. I know you're used to Lucy, but I run daggers for you. When I'm in charge, daggers for you. I know you're used to Lucy, but I run. Go pump, pump, pump some neurons. I know you're used to Lucy, but I run. Such a shun, such a shun. I know you're used to Lucy, but I run. Hip hop, bebop. Dance till you drop. Hip hop, bebop. Doesn't mean that they don't love. Hip hop, bebop. Bop, bop, bop. Dance till you drop. Hip hop, bebop. Bum, 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 bum. Just a little bit of nicotine. The sun. Just a little bit of nicotine. Cream in your sugar now. A little bit of nicotine. Dinner, dinner, dinner. Doesn't mean that they don't love you. Entertainment of entertainment of entertainment of entertainment. When I'm in charge. Entertainment of entertainment of entertainment of entertainment of entertainment of entertainment. Don't fuss with me. It tastes good. Dinner, dinner, dinner. It tastes good. Pump, 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 pump. Should've never had a birthday party. Should've never had a birthday party. Should've never had a birthday party. Birthday party. I know you're used to Lucy, but I run. Such a shun, such a shun. I'm in charge. I know you're used to Lucy, but I run. Should've never had a birthday party. Birthday party. Yeah. Hip hop, bebop. Dance till you drop. Hip hop, bebop. Mean that they don't love. Hip hop, bebop. Bop, bop, bop. Dance till you drop. Hip hop, bebop. Candy and the sun. Just a little bit of nicotine. Dinner, dinner, dinner. Just a little bit of nicotine. Cream in your sugar now. A little bit of nicotine.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another DaraChat. My name is Daramuth, or Dara for short, because some people out there, alright, let's just be honest, some didn't make it past the first grade, and they say Daramouth, and that is a sad fate for most of them, okay? It's it's Daramuth, not Daramouth, okay?
Moose. It's like moose.
It,
There are
yeah,
moose.
yeah. Well, basically, I kind of took the word vermouth and I played around with it, and that's what that came to be. So, because you don't say vermouth, all right?
Mhm.
Come on. But anyway, I get to have on the lovely, I guess Carrow Brown, because Rip Lorian just sounds like you're a historian for Rippaverse or something like that. I don't know. Rip Lorian makes you just sound like you're the holder of this book. And it's like, don't go there. Everything's in this one book. But yeah,
That's
but
funny because Ripalorian's a play off of Mandalorian. Because
oh,
when I did cosplay for Mandalorian, I did it in Rippaverse colors, and everybody
mm.
just called me Ripalorian.
Well, I mean, it just when it's like historian, right? Like
Hmm.
historian has that ending to it. It's like well, historian, all this stuff. But no, yeah, it's nice to get to have you on. Obviously, um, we had to change when we initially did this. I had to change date because you'll be leaving on a trip tomorrow on a faraway land. But no, I talk to all sorts of people. Like I talk to people who aren't even content creators in their own right. Because I mean, honestly, it's very limiting when you're talking to just content creators. But it is understandable because there's a risk involved with that sort of thing. If that makes sense.
Mhm.
Because imagine you talking to someone you've never met before, doesn't create content, and they're just like, okay, where do I go from here? And that
Mhm.
sort of thing. And it's like there have been times where it's like trying to draw water from stone. I know some people say blood from stone, but I'm already squeamish enough as it is, so I'm not gonna go there. But yeah, it's just one of those things where um I do this thing because I enjoy doing it, and also it's kind of freeing because honestly, you can go anywhere. And I know your sort of uh, business is in the comics arena, but I did want to ask, like, what does your title mean? It's like senior assistant or executive, whatever that was. And I'm not sure, like, what does that entail?
Oh, the executive
Yeah.
assistant? It's so that's a loaded question. So on paper, an executive assistant is basically like the CEO's secretary. That's
Mm.
that's that's what it traditionally means.
Oh,
But at Rippaverse, it means I do whatever it is Eric wants me to do, and I remind him what he's supposed to do. So I do a lot of things. I've
right.
done everything from assisting in editing to driving the truck to one of the conventions, to being security. Like I've done everything. So it's
Wow.
yeah.
Because it would just be easier to say secretary, but then it's like, well, then
But I'm not just a secretary though, right?
you're more like higher up. I almost say you're like a higher up gopher, right? You go for this, you go for that, you do this,
Mhm.
you do that. Um, but yeah, that's what it sounds to me. But yeah, I was just like, what does that even mean? Because I when you get up that high, it almost feels like they make up uh jobs just to have fancy titles, and I'm like, I don't know what that means.
Oh, yeah, like, in some corporate places, that's how it is. I mean, this was the title that they gave me when I got hired, so I was just like, "That sounds fine. Yeah, sure." Read job description, I was like, "Yeah, I can do all that stuff. Let's go."
And it's okay. What I can't do that one. You have to take that off the page. Just leave that one alone. Can't do that. Oh, I'm not gonna take out the trash, guys. Come on. But no, I mean that's pretty awesome that you get to do because I mean personally for me the last or what was it the last comic I ever read I probably actually probably the only comic I probably ever read was Sonic one from a
Mhm.
long time ago.
From
Uh,
Archie?
I think it was a long time ago. I just gotten out of surgery because I had flat feet as a kid, so that's why I went in. But my mom had decided to go to like a grocery store or whatever, and that's when they were still selling the comics on like the magazine things, right? Like you go to the front and all that stuff. But I think it was Archie because I mean it's been with Archie for so long before then.
Mhm.
Um, but don't ask when the surgery happened. I don't remember. That's how old
It's
I am.
probably Archie. Archie's the bigger mainstream comic book, maker for Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, and it's funny how stuff like their, Sabrina the Teenage Witch that got a TV show back in the early like 90s, 2000s, I think it was.
Mhm.
And then that got one twisted to dark. So I mean, that's all Sabrina the Teenage Witch and she's actually eating people. Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Nom 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 nom.
And then there was the what was it? What was it called? Riverside or something like that? It was like the adult version of the Archie comics, like the Archie gang.
Yeah, that was somebody who used to draw for Archie, but they ended up leaving, and so they made, like, their own spin-off comic in the Archie style. That's I know what you mean, yeah.
Yeah. And that was just that almost felt like One Tree Hill and some other show combined with each other. It's
Mhm.
no. No, I don't think we need any more CW at that point. But yeah, it's interesting how um some of that went on to be like live TV shows. I will always appreciate the Melissa Joan Hart era of uh, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. It probably went on a long time. Obviously, you know, I don't know how many seasons it went on. But yeah, that. that's just one of those things. And yeah, honestly, she, I think I saw her. What was it? There was like was it my TV? Was it MTV Cribs or something like that, where they go to celebrity houses and they
Mhm.
show off the house and stuff. They actually showed off her house, and I think she lives somewhere in Kentucky
Yeah.
or somewhere in there.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, it was just nice to kind of see and all that stuff. But regardless, I mean, again, I've only read one comic, mostly manga, obviously, but that's a Japanese comic, so I guess it's probably the same. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that counts for East versus West sort of thing.
It's still a comic. It's just the one thing that sets manga apart from any other comic is it has to be made in Japan by a Japanese person. And if those two things are not part of the manga, then it's not manga, it's just a comic.
Yeah, because I know there have been some Americans who have tried to do, because the other thing too is the reverse reading part of it, right? Like
Mhm.
you're reading right to left instead of left to right,
Mhm.
which is always a fun one when you're like, wait a second, the nothing's here, and they actually tell you at the last page, like, no, no, this is how you start, and you have to go all the way to the front.
Mhm.
And that was a fun time when I first tried to read manga. Um, but I mean, for you, like with all that stuff, I mean, do you read manga yourself, or do you stick with like West comics?
I read everything. You can't see because the camera's not angled that way, but my bookshelf right here has everything from webtoons to manga. I've got some westerns. All my indie comics are over there. My work comics are over there too.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so no, I got all kinds of things here. So if it's got words in it that I can read, I'll probably read it.
Wait, hold on a second. Does that mean you have an encyclopedia there?
Yeah, it's over there. And then I also have like the grammar book and the Chicago Manual of Style over there. Like I've got it all. Like
Jeez
it's all
Louise.
here. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. What about the Encyclopedia Britannica?
No, I don't have that, but I do have. Let me see. Let's see. Because I got. That's not it. That's the copywriter book. That's the. Because the one that I have, it's a faith and fable one for the Britannica, but
Mm.
I think I left it. It's in a different room. Yeah, because I have another bookshelf downstairs.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
goodness sake. So you're pretty much a collector of books at this point.
Yeah, I hate moving. I really hate moving because it's like the books in here are like the worst part. Like every time like a moving crew comes over and they're like, "Where do you want us to put like these heavy boxes at?" I'm like, just leave them right there. Leave them
Yeah,
right there. Don't worry about where to put those books. I will figure it out for you.
right.
Yeah. Got me looking over here now. Yeah, because there's Nightwing and then there's Chobits, the complete, and
Oh,
then let's see, Battle Angel Alita. I've got Akira.
nice.
Yeah, I got all kinds of things here. I'm like really bugged about where my Fable book is. That's gonna eat at me for this entire discussion.
Then you just look back over your shoulder like, oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah, you'll be like talking to me. It's like, no, I'm still indexing all of my books right now, but I'm listening to you.
It'll be like that. Be like that meme where it's like the guy has the math problem surrounding him, and you're just looking all over the place, like
Mhm.
solve it. No, but that's pretty interesting because you talk about Chobits. Chobits was created by the Clamp mangaka circle,
Yep.
and obviously for those who don't know, they are all hey Lex, they are all females. Basically, it's a female all of it, and they've done some other ones too, like Cardcaptor Sakura,
Mhm. Exholic. Yeah.
X Holic.
Yeah, I just say
Um,
exholic. That's too many X's.
well, yeah, and it was funny because I was trying to figure out like why is it called that, but it's basically about, to some degree, it's about addictions in many different forms.
Mhm.
And I did like that series, and I think they came out with like, oh, there was another one after when the first one went. It was like Holic Ray or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, they're following like his dream journeys and stuff like that. I remember
yeah.
that. I was talking because I lived in Japan for a little while, and so when one of my coworkers asked if I had read it, I had looked at the title and I was like XXX Holic, and they were like, yeah, and I was like, I had looked at it again and looked at them, And so I had to explain that when you have three X's together in
Yeah.
English, that means pornography. And so they were just like, no, it is not pornography.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was looking it up on a Wikipedia once or somewhere around there, and it was basically saying it's just like uh what was it, the addiction part right there, because holic, right, alcoholic, that sort of stuff. So you have that bit right there, and it was just interesting how they kind of came with that, and it was also kind of interesting too because it did cross over with another of their series, Subasa
Mm-hmm.
Reservoir Chronicles, and that sort of borrows reference frame from their Cards That Capture Sakura
Mm-hmm.
and all that stuff. Because it was interesting to include, like, uh, Cloud Reed and all the cards and all that. It was just a very, and the characters from and all that stuff. And Lex Astro ask opinion on e-readers.
Like, like it.
Kindle. I think Kindle's probably an e-reader.
I just want to clarify, like, are you asking if I'm a book only or an e-reader or like,
I think he's asking what you think about e-readers, not if you are e-reader only or something like
I
that.
mean, technically my phone's an e-reader, so I
There
guess
you go.
I mean, I'll use it. They've got time and place. I have a Kindle downstairs, and it's, for as many books as I have here, I have probably double that on my
Oh,
Kindle. Um,
jeez.
but if I had to be really honest, I'm more of an audiobook reader, and the reason I'm an audiobook reader is because I'm dyslexic, and so
Oh,
it takes me longer to get through reading a book than it is to listen to it.
oh,
But ironically, when I listen to audiobooks, I actually listen to them on 1.5 time because
oh.
I can hear it way faster. So it's just I read slow, I listen fast. So
I feel like that's gonna be a movie coming on. Read fast. No, hear fast. Read slow this summer. Um, but no, yeah, because there were some books that it's funny enough because I actually listened to the Witcher series rather than read it because obviously, I mean, you can buy the books, but it was just, I think when you sign up for like an account through audio, what is that one? It's the one by Amazon.
Audible.
Audible, that's right. When you sign up for Audible, you do a separate account, but they do kind of cross-reference your account with Amazon. And
Mhm.
so, like, if you pay for the monthly thing, you get like one free credit a month.
Mhm.
And I took well advantage of that. But then I was like, well, my bank account isn't looking any good. Um, so I'm gonna have to let that one go. But yeah, I did pretty much the whole series of the Witcher books,
Mhm.
and I just kind of listened to them. And the guy really did a great job. Kenny, what was this? Kenny something. And but then again, I think I played the game before I did the audiobooks.
Mhm.
Mostly The Witcher 3 because yeah, there was Witcher 1 and 2, the games, but I mean, they are kind of, you look at them, they're kind of graphically kind of outdated in many factions.
Mm.
And so it's sort of like, no. But when Witcher 3 came out, I played that one, and believe you and me, I didn't go past like the easy basic one because I was not gonna make it. I was not gonna be able to make potions like, okay, this potion goes with that. It was not gonna work well.
No.
It was a bad time.
Can't take your energy drink while playing your game. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, and that's another thing too, is like I know some people who play games take energy drinks, but not all energy drinks are good for you though.
No, they're not. No, because when I used to work for a charity. At some point, I always talk about this charity I worked for, but
Mm,
it was a group for helping women that had domestic or substance abuse histories.
right.
And one of the things I had to talk to some of the ladies about, because when you're talking about substance abuse, in some ways
Yeah.
it's them trying to have like some kind of control on their body,
Yeah.
right? And so obviously like the women who are giving up like the hard stuff, they're
Mm.
still trying to find that control. So what they do is they start chugging energy drinks. And at one point
Ugh,
I had to talk to one lady. I was like, you are literally turning your blood into sludge right now. Like you have to
ugh.
stop. Like if you really want an energy drink, drink some freaking water. Put some salt in it, drink it. I promise you'll be fine.
Yeah. No, and yeah, because I heard like, what was it, like Monster or something? Like if you took too many of it, you basically would just, your heart would just basically beat out your chest, more or
Heart
less.
palpitations, yeah.
stuff like that too, and trouble sleeping and all that stuff. But I did find an energy drink that was more, um, what was it? It's more not of that basis. Like it's more healthier for you. I can't get it.
Healthier.
Oh, here we go. So this is one I went to a store, and it's called Positive Energy Melon Mania, 0 calorie, zero sugar. But the ingredients, I won't show the ingredients, but the ingredients say water, natural flavor, citric acid, potassium citrate, stevia, caffeine from green tea extract, ascorbic acid, vitamin C, zinc gluconate. I'm gonna butcher some of these words. Sodium citrate, monk fruit extract, vitamin B12, contains no fruit juice. So there's it's I mean it's energy drink, so take with it what you will, but it's a lot healthier than what's out there.
You just need
Um,
some creatine in it at this point.
just yeah, creatine, put creatine in there. But
Yeah.
yeah, I found it at a store because like I'm not an energy drinker myself, but it's kind of like once in the blue moon, it's kind of nice to have something like that to give you a boost. Because I tried one of those, what are they called? The 5 hour ones, like the five
Hmm.
hour. And yeah, it was no, not again. And Vlad says, Rev by the My Pillow guy is a key to energy drink, and aren't they? They are great. Oh, Rev 7. Okay, Rev 7 by Your Pillow. Okay. Oh, I've never heard of it. But yeah, I just found that and I was like, it's a lot better than was it Monster, Red Bull, uh, Celsius at this point. Like
Hmm.
it's funny. I don't know. What I have seen that you've been posting like your journey of health and stuff.
Hmm.
Uh, like what was it? You post like vitamins and how much you do workout wise or
Hmm.
whatever. So it's
Hmm.
like, do you change it up every now and again, or you just stick to something strict workout wise?
It kind of depends on what kind of punishment I want to put my limbs through. So sometimes I'll do like a cardio session, or sometimes I'll focus on like trying to build up strength and whatnot.
Yeah,
Because when you change it up, it shocks your body a little
yeah.
bit, and so it continues to develop. I'm currently going through like the fuck cancer challenge right now, just because that's what I'm going through. So
Mhm.
my focus is really making sure that my body is as strong as it can be before and after I have to go through like keto and tasty radiation therapy and stuff like that, because
Right.
and then I have to build up my body after that. So
Mhm.
that's my primary focus. So I don't really want to overtax my body
Mhm.
with things that aren't good for it. So I want to make sure I get sleep. I want to make sure I'm like getting my vitamins, my C. I'm not drinking anymore right now because that's really bad for your immune system.
Yeah.
Like I'm not even taking Benadryl right now. So it's a whole bunch of stuff I'm doing. But
Yeah.
before that, I was doing, I want to call it the hit and hustle. And
Mhm.
so the hit and hustle was very boxing focused because I love to box. That's like my
Oh,
favorite
really?
thing. Yeah, I love boxing. I'm actually hunched over because it's like it actually hurts my back if I sit back too much because my muscles are super developed. So I always hunch forward like this. But so that was, I would do shadow boxing in the morning, 20 minutes of weights after shadow boxing because it's kinesthetic and then resistance. And
Right.
then in the afternoon, I would either do more resistance or I would do bag work.
Right.
And then on top of that, I was trying to have movement for anything between 7 and 10,000 steps a day, which is realistic for me. It's not
Right.
always realistic for everybody else.
Right.
But part of why I wanted to do the movement was because, I sit in a chair all the time.
Mhm.
So, and that's actually when you're sedentary all the time, your brain also becomes sedentary. Even
Mhm.
though you're kind of like, oh, I'm so tired, I just want to sit here. Well, sitting here also still makes you tired too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Which is not, I mean, I try to stay moving. I mean, at my job, I'm pretty much standing all day. So I'm sort of, up and about, but when I come home it's sort of like nice to be able to sit down, but that's kind of and part, and doing this too, that's part of that. But I do try to get out, do work out more because um my side of things is like I have issue with cholesterol, and I'm in the danger zone as they call it.
Hmm.
So I've Well, I've been given some medication, obviously, but it's mostly just like I've got 3 months to kind of ship up
Mhm.
and get my baseline to a better degree, which I can. I've kind of had, which I'm starting to hate now, but I know I have to do it. I've kind of had to give up eating out altogether. So it's just like it's one of those hard things. But then again, it's also like eating those foods that like pizza and stuff. I mean, homemade pizza maybe, but if you buy it like Domino's, whatever, you kind of have to like
Mhm.
know. So it's a lot of things, but no, it's just one of those things of you can kind of discover how things go and stuff because I think people are so used to like the normal way of things. Like you imagine like someone with gluten, right? And they have
Mhm.
to find so many different recipes because bread and all that stuff just wouldn't agree with them.
Mhm.
But you have to think about it like someone who's trying to get healthier and all this stuff. They're like, oh man, what is there? What's out there? It's like there's so many tools out there to help you find it. It's insane.
Mhm.
I saw someone say they use grok to help them get there. I'm like, okay, I guess.
I mean, Grok goes through the internet faster than I do. I'll give it that.
Okay. Okay. So I'm guessing you've timed yourself with this one. I
Well, because if you think about it, like if you use any search engine,
Yeah,
right, and you're trying to find an answer to a question,
yeah,
like the way it used to be, was you used to be like right now there's so many like sponsored pages that show up at the top.
yeah.
Like I went to go research something today about apricot seeds, right? Like
Oh,
I just wanted to research it, and I had to go all the way to the very bottom of the page before I actually
mhm,
started finding information about what I was looking for because everything that popped up like above it was
yeah,
either sponsored or it was SEO'd in a way to make it show up on the very
yeah,
top, and like it was all like nothing I wanted to go through. And then like that very bottom link when I finally clicked on it was like two sentences, and I was like, this is ridiculous. And so I went to Chat GPT and I was like, hey, can you give me all this stuff about, was it go in and do a deep dive and research everything about apricot seeds and how it applies to XYZ, right?
mm,
And so it went, and then I also said like cite your sources, and that's really important. If you use like an AI, ask it to cite sources,
mhm,
because it will just go through the internet and research everything and then give it to you. But
yeah,
if you don't know where it got that information from, then it could be wrong still. So that's
yeah.
why you always have to add that. So you can go and click on those links and like do Dove no Prove. That's what it's called.
Yeah, because I mean, I've used like Grok in the past, but more or less I use Claude more than that because I've just been used to that faction. But yeah, you kind of have to be wary of. But I mean, it's helpful when it is. Um, Obviously, I know some people have their inferences and differences against, but at the end of the day, I mean, the technology. I want to say I want to say to some degree, technology kind of jumps over to some degree those complaints because sooner or later it's going to be forced to some manner, or you're just going to go off into the woods and do your thing there. But sooner or later, the technology jumps over the complaints, and you get to the point where you have this accepted boundary, and that's been most of humanity, right? Like something comes up, we get all bushwhacked about it, and then as time goes on, that peters out, and then something else comes up, and that old thing kind of just gets less remembered. It's a bunch of technology we have.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, if you wanna use some examples, I mean, we used to have horses, and then we had cars, and people weren't sure about cars because then what were we gonna do with the horses?
yeah,
And then we had trains. Well,
mhm,
trains came before horses, but
yeah,
if you want to talk about like in the art area, we used to actually like type all of our books, and then send them in and have to retype all those pages. But then when the computer became a thing, like the people who were so used to like using the typewriter were like, no, that's not how you write books. But because they were so much faster for editing everything else, people were kind of like, we're going to do this. And then the program came into being with the reviews and stuff like
yeah,
that. So that's standard practice. So if I run into somebody like, I think Neil Gaiman's the only one who can get away with being like, I handwrite all my books. I'm like, you crazy mofo, but you have so much money, it doesn't fucking matter, right? And then in the art industry, when tablets came around, there was a big pushback on people who were using tablets. They're like, no, you can't do tablets. We do traditional only here. If you use a tablet, you're cheating, right?
yeah,
But now it's like if you go and work somewhere and you say, I work traditional, there's always like this pause because everybody's like, man, if you work traditional, it's going to take you twice as long to do what I need you to do, right? It's not, it's
Yeah.
like it's expected for you to have a tablet or some kind of like, you know, drawing monitor or whatever.
Yeah.
And with AI, I've gotten into a lot of discussions with this because my first encounter with AI was actually in the negative way. I worked for a gaming company. I was in the writing room with them,
Oh, really?
and the CEO came in and he wanted to make a character for the game that we were working on. So he
Yeah.
came to the writing meeting. He was like, "Yeah, I just used this new AI thing. Just take this, clean it up, and use that." And I
Mm-hmm.
remember reading it. It was absolute slop. Like the way people like think of slop right now, like no, this was slop of slop. Like this was
Yeah.
really, really bad.
Yeah.
And I was admittedly I was like really offended. I was like, you can't do this.
Yeah.
Like first off, like he's like, no, look at this. Look how many words there are. It's like it really understood what I wanted. I was like, no, it doesn't understand. It has no idea. It
Yeah.
doesn't get it. But you know, that was my first encounter, and you know, obviously I had that negative impression. But my other impression that I had was, um, it's very easy and addictive to use. And when like people higher up are kind of like, I could just use AI to cut
Yeah.
out like this part of the process and speed up everything else. That's what they're going to focus on,
Yeah.
especially if you're talking about a group of individuals who aren't like invested in the craft like the writers in the room are.
Yeah.
I wrote a blog post where I talked about writers and the use of AI and stuff like that. My big caveat right now is that AI at this level is pretty much as basic as it's going to get, and it's going to continue to evolve and grow and teach
Mm-hmm.
itself until it's going to get to a point where like sometimes I'll read a blog post and I can't tell if AI was
Mm-hmm.
actually used in it or not. There's
Yeah.
like a couple of little quirks that AI has when it's used,
Yeah.
at least with ChatGPT. Grok, I don't really know very well. I'm sure it's got the same quirks because it's all talking to each other.
Yeah.
But sometimes I can pick up that, but other times I'm like, no, that's actually the correct way to phrase that and to do that. And most of what I think is happening right now is people are actually just writing what it is that they're trying to write, and then they ask Grok to like grammar check it.
Yeah.
And so when Grok or ChatGPT do the grammar check, that's when it kind of like inserts its little voice things in there. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's kind of like I was here. I stamp my hand. So
It's like when the artist puts their initials at the corner of
mm-hmm.
the page. It's like, I can't. Does that say T or C? I can't read that.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but no. I mean, I get the. I mean, again, that's gonna be a big. Uh, as you stated, like the horse and carriage, car, all that stuff. Um, lot of technology revolution. Well, you think about it this way, right? Like monks used to write it by hand,
Mm-hmm.
and they would rewrite it by hand every time unless they didn't. And then you had the typewriter come. Well, what about the argument for all that stuff? Because I mean, again, any new form of technology we've come to, I mean, sure, it can be used for evil. There's no argument against that. But it also has a lot of good differences if you put it in the right hands. The issue of it is that every tool we've ever created has no inference of its own. It's an inference, it extends of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the computer has no inference without us inputting into it. And without input, it's basically just waiting,
Yeah.
basically. So and the same thing with like games, right? Like games can't do anything on their own until there's an input, you going through that. But games were a whole lot different back in like the 70s and 80s. I mean, you try to tell someone about a PS5 back then, you'd be like, that's just not true. It's witchcraft. It's all
Mm-hmm.
witchcraft.
Yeah, when the CG openings for games came out, like that was huge. I still remember when Final Fantasy 8 came out, and that was like that at that time, like that opening was like the best thing that we had ever seen. You're like, wow, it doesn't get any better than this. And then of course, like, you know, years have gone by since then. It's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I can't even tell if this is like CG or not right now.
Yeah, and the funny thing too is like, it's this thing with I think you've seen a lot of them, but like the Sora 2 stuff, right? Like you've
Mm-hmm.
probably seen video after video after video of people just putting stuff out there. Well, it's hilarious. Most of it is pretty hilarious because um I can't remember who was it that was doing. I don't know if it was Sora or not, but the ones who were doing the Oh, VO3. That's right. VO3 was doing the whole Sasquatch and the Stormtrooper videos. And that was not too long ago. That was probably earlier this year, to be honest, which is scary if you think about it. But you come to something like Sora 2 now, which is improved upon that method of creating a video out of prompt where you wouldn't really get very much when you first started out, give you this weird stuff or whatever. But I mean, that's just the evolution of it all. And while it can be scary, obviously, because it's going pretty fast, but if we were to stop and complain about every tool, which we probably have to some degree, we never really get anywhere. And I think, I think, I think if you give people enough things to entertain themselves, they really don't go beyond the scope of, right? If that makes sense, it's more of just like it's like a stopgap, right? Like you give enough people, um, what was it? Like people would call TikTok brain rot, and yet many people will go to TikTok to get seen, to get paid, all that stuff. So what is it, right? Like it's two inferences right here. Like TikTok is brain rot, but then people go to TikTok to make content and get money off it, and it's just like kind of like speaking against yourself there.
Yeah, I think the thing with social media, I mean, the thing with technology is it has pros and it has cons and it has things that
Mhm.
appeal. So, if we circle back to writing, because handwriting, so the one step that came before handwriting and the typewriter was the printing press.
Yeah.
And the thing with the printing press is that um, it made getting books to people way easier because when everything had to be handwritten, there weren't multiple books. There might have been just
Yeah.
5 of those books, and that was it. But with the printing press, they could make
Yeah.
like 50 or 100 or whatever. And that actually was really big on helping people become literate
Yeah.
because then they had access to it and they could learn and they had a reason to. Because most of the time, it's like, oh, this book is so rare, I can't even afford to own the book. Why would I learn how to read it, right?
Yeah.
So that was a nice pro. And downside, all those people with beautiful handwriting now don't really have as many jobs, but I
Mhm.
don't have a way to talk to them and ask how they transition through that.
Yeah.
And then I want to say with social media and entertainment, we used to have TV shows, but part of the reason people kind of go to streams like this is because it's an interactive experience. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Fahrenheit 451 because
Mm.
there's the room with the TVs where the wife was sitting and she was talking to the TVs and the TVs were talking back. It was there was
Mm.
engagement there. And you don't really get engagement with a TV show. Like Kimmy comes on, he talks, you can't really say anything other than throw something at the TV or change the channel, right? Even when you're a live studio member, you can only clap when the sign comes on and then you're told to leave when the show's over, right? Like it's not
And
interactive. But here, you've had people in the chat that have reached out to us and you've responded, I've waved at them like they're part of this event right now, right?
yeah.
And that's kind of what people are looking for, which is a nice way to say people are just looking for some kind of connection. Unfortunately, the parasocial issue that comes with streaming is that sometimes people think that there's a relationship there that's
Yeah.
not. So if we think about what was her name? Remy over at the Twitch thing that happened, if you know that
Oh,
one.
Emiru? I think it's
Imaru, yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
Emiru, yeah.
Yeah, so like Emeru is standing there and she's talking to people that want to talk to her. And yeah, this weirdo shows up and like tries to hug and like smack, mac on her and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Because in his mind, he thought he had something with Emeru, right? And Emeru is like, I have never seen you before,
Yeah.
right? And we'll never know if they ever talked or anything. I heard initially he got banned for 30 days for doing it, and then they
Yeah.
raised the stink and he's like, okay, well, he's just not allowed on the platform. I'm like, oh, good job, assault.
Right. Congrats. So smart, so brave.
Yeah, I don't want to be Twitch's lawyer on that. That's gonna
Yeah.
get fun. But technology kind of evolves in a way as society evolves as
Yeah.
well. So like if they did the printing press and people kept not wanting to learn how to read or wanted to have access to books, that printing press would probably have gone out of business. But people were like they were hungry for this new development.
Yeah.
So
It's yeah, and part of the printing press was the Martin Luther stuff, right? Because
mhm.
the church and the power and all this stuff, and that was kind of a thing freeing to theirs because technology can, in that sense, free people from being, I guess, gate kept
Mhm.
by people who hold the bigger standards. Now, obviously, you're gonna have people who are gonna hold the AI stuff and all that, but then again, you have people out there building their own form of AI and whatnot. and so you're gonna have this you're just going to have the continuing swimmingness of technology where people will build or as a one movie said, if you build it they will come,
Mm-hmm.
uh, from all that. But it really is going to be an interesting thing how it goes. But again, I mean, it's good or bad. It's not, I mean, it's both good and bad. It's not one or the other, because that's a personal choice, not a what's the word, not an actuality.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I think that's wrong. It's an actuality through the person's choice, but it's not just one or the other. It's both. It has the
Mm-hmm.
potential for both. Um,
Yeah, I think the current friction points with technology right now is I think the transition into its implementation is causing a lot of friction in the sense that it is costing people jobs.
yeah.
So I remember when I was starting to like watch like AI develop and what it could do, my
Mm,
first thought was like, man, copywriters, they're gone, they're out.
yep.
And a copywriter is somebody who writes product copy,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So, when you're going in there and you're trying to figure out, like, is this a can of Coke? Like, I can't tell if it's a can of Coke. And it'll be like, this is a can of Coke in the color of red with white letters, and it's exactly 12 ounces, and it has this many calories, and it's got all of that in there, right?
Mm,
So a person used to write all that, but now you can just go over to whatever your AI assistant is and say, I need to write a product description for this thing. It's got these details. I only need it to be 4 sentences long. And it'll be like, done.
yeah.
Yeah, so that was the first job I knew was going to go. SEO consulting, probably still green right now,
Yeah.
but even that is only a matter of time, and that's just because. And I say that because I watched one of my friends who's an SEO consultant use
Yeah.
it, and she's got a deeper pedagogy of how SEO works when it turns into like key phrases and how to be found online and stuff like that.
Right.
And so she was able to look at it and be like, it's got kind of the general idea of where to go, but it's still wrong. And it does
Yeah.
that with writing too. If you go in there, like, I can't remember who it was. Somebody was talking to me about some online person they don't like.
Mm,
And they told me they don't like that person because they use AI to write their books. And my first question was like, okay, so like what extent? Like what
yeah.
is the extent of what you're talking about? Like, are they using it to like spell check? Because Grammarly is technically an AI that spell checks. So if that's
True.
if that's where you are, then that's
Yeah.
yeah. So you've got that. Or did they put in a prompt and say, I want a book that's 70,000 words with, these events in there, and then they just let the AI write it all,
Yeah.
right? So I should have asked that question, but I was too busy being kind of like, tell me more about how you don't like this person. Cause that's where I was at the moment. I was like, oh, juicy tea. You don't like somebody? Cool. I don't like this person over here. Let's talk about that too. Right.
Molotov, Molotov, Molotov.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of just the energy sucker. But no, it's, I mean, because I kind of use it for refinement, and I usually give like what I want to say, and then it goes from there from a correction form. But I mean, I use Claude for like my stuff as well, because it's a space of efficiency, and honestly, in this wide big pool that we call content creation. It's huge. It's massive. Doesn't matter the platform. It's the collection of all of them, really. Any platform you could think of, the collection of all of it. You already have enough people. You have a whole bunch of people doing the same thing. They're just trying to find that little gold nugget that will make the difference for them. Because how many people do you see like on YouTube play a game, right? Like when a new game comes out, tons and tons and tons of people are playing that game, and obviously they're getting seen because that's the new big thing, right? You
Mm-hmm.
know how that stuff works. But then you have, you whittle it down to like, oh, you got retro gamers stuff. Nothing wrong with that. But sooner or later, you have a bunch of people doing retro gaming, and then you have people playing indie games, and it whittles down until it tries to get to a point where you can be um, uh, niche or spotlighted on or something like that. And it's just like this thing has become so saturated with those things involved, gaming, makeup tutorials, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all pretty much um, collected out there. Just because of a different platform doesn't mean that it's not like uh, what's the word? Not conjunctive. Just kind of butting up against each other in some
Mm.
manner, because I mean, at this point, it only makes sense as a
Conjecture? Is that the word you meant?
maybe conjecture. I don't know.
Okay.
It's something that matter. Look, they're words. They're beautiful words, but after a while,
They all
um,
blend together. They're
they
just
all blend
letters.
together. They're letters, numbers after at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Um, but no, but I mean, now with content creators, being on one platform is kind of a pointless endeavor because you've got so many platforms out there that multi-platform is going to be that ordeal, and then you're gonna. It's almost like this huge swath of trying to compete for what, but at the end result, it's still pretty much the same. You're trying to do these things to make yourself look better, but really, you're really just trying to compete for that fleck of the gold dust that will make you somewhat different. And I'm just like, that is one rat race I do not want to be a part of.
Yeah, and of course, like, the algorithm will typically push like salacious content up instead of anything else. Like Critical Drinker is probably the better example of this. Critical Drinker will make two kinds of videos, sometimes three.
Mhm,
He'll make a video about stuff that he likes. He'll
mhm,
make a video about stuff that he doesn't like.
mhm.
And he can say he can keep it the exact same length and everything else, but I guarantee you the video that he doesn't like will get more views than the one that he likes.
Yeah, and that's pretty much with every platform. But that's sort of like that. Human thing where people are more drawn to the negative aspect than a
Hmm.
positive aspect. Even though there are some people watching positive stuff out there, like for my stuff, I know I don't get like the numbers, whatever, but I saw importance in it because again, you have a lot of people just talking to other content creators. And I'm like, but there's a whole world beyond content creators. You have people with 10,000, 100,000, 50,000 followers. And if they were to bring like a fifth of those people on as a guest by one or whatever. I mean, that's content for the rest of his life. And it's not content in like the mean sense. It's sort of like content in the sense like I got to talk to this person about whatever, and you got to be a part of it and see it and be active of it. And it's there, right? Like
Hmm.
so kind of as like a thing going back to like what you're talking about for yourself and your cancer stuff.
Hmm.
I don't is there do you know what type of it is, or am I allowed to ask what type it is? Is it like
That's
breast
breast
cancer?
cancer. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Titty cancer. Maybe I'll get some new titties out of it. I don't know. Stay tuned, guys. That's my journey right now.
well,
So.
that no, amen for that. But no, it's just because I did have a family member who they did have to have a mastectomy. They did have to have a mastectomy, but they didn't have times throughout their life where it wasn't just that, it was like throughout the body. And unfortunately um she did pass away at 50 because she had been fighting it majority of her life, on and off, remission,
Hmm.
malignant and all that stuff. And I don't know if there was specific wording for it other than just cancer, but I do know she did have to have a mastectomy, so probably that. But it's just one of those things where, like with this, like it captures a moment in time between two people. Doesn't matter about status, doesn't matter who you work for, what amount of followers you have. Doesn't just matters about the moment in time you get to have with the person. And with a lot of that kind of stuff out there and all that, you never know when it's your last,
Hmm.
right? You never know. You try to extend your life by eating well and doing better. You probably do better than most people because some people out there let themselves go real hard, and that's a shame.
Hmm.
Um, but it's just one of those things where you get to capture that moment in time, and that's what I'd like to do. And again, I don't care about status. You can't take status with you. You're not going to be the secretary, 6 feet under or dust in the wind. It's not going to matter at that point. But what matters is hey, I got to talk to a lady called Carrow Brown. And I accidentally call her Carol Brown. That's not good. But I got to spend time with her. I got to talk to her about whatever, and it was a great time. And that's it. That's the most important part right there, and that's why I do it. But I know, number wise, it's like, oh, you have such low numbers. Like, who the fudge cares? I'm gonna be dead one day. This is all just trying to show you people actually existed at one
Yeah.
point.
I mean, it's about what's meaningful to you, and I think sometimes we get, like you called it, a rat race earlier, and I think some people get wrapped up in the rat race to the point where it removes what it was that made them enjoy doing it in the first place, right? Like, so I
Mhm.
love writing books. In fact, I write books very often.
Yeah.
But I remember when I first started getting into the author tube aspect of YouTube, like I
Mhm.
started getting sucked into the rat race into like I think I did it for about 2 years.
Oh.
And then I can't remember what the event was off the top of my head.
Mhm.
No, I do remember I got hired at Rippaverse. That's what happened.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, so but I got hired at Rippaverse and it was just kind of like I don't have time for this BS right now. Like I have other priorities. And it was, you know, and it's actually kind of interesting because when I got diagnosed with cancer, it was like I had to warn. So one of my closer coworkers,
Mhm.
Andrew, I warned him first. I was like, I have no filter right now. Like my
Mhm.
filter is gone.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it, right?
Mhm.
And I warned him because we work like all the time together, and he was gonna be the one that was gonna have to deal with my bullshit the most. Um, but like even one time, like I had a writer that submitted something, and before I would have been like, oh man, like how do I tell them to do X, Y, Z? And like when I saw it, I was like, this is wrong. You have to change it. Do it by tomorrow, right? Like it was just like I just didn't care anymore.
Yeah.
And like even some of the stuff that used to like probably stress me out a while ago, I was like, I just don't care anymore. Like
Yeah.
it means nothing to me, you know, in the
Mhm.
face of my current events that are going on. And
Yeah.
I've told people that too, because like, don't you think this is important? I was like, no, I don't. I don't. It doesn't matter,
Yeah.
right?
I that almost makes me want to ask, like, in a sense, because I mean, obviously you've long life of just doing, like, because I know your books, you write fancy novels and all that stuff, and more than that, but you've also done work with Rippa and all that stuff. But I mean, coming to this point where you're kind of faced with that, does that give you like a stopping point and just like say, does it sort of remove that factor where, like, time is of the essence now, and you're just like, "Look, I can't. There's more important things going on. I gotta get this done and stuff." Or
Mm-hmm.
does it kind of give you like a sit down moment where you just kind of breathe in and smell the roses? Because I think there's a it may go one way or another, but I really think people are sort of like on that space where it's both at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we all face mortality every day. I mean, obviously we're alive, but when you're told something that can quicken that mortality, I would think that it's sort of like I don't know. It's sort of like that shock moment, and you're just like, I don't know what to do, and you're sort of trying to catch up to get back to something. I'm going a bit off based off movies, so don't take my advice in this. But I wonder if that's for you. Is like, has it brought to you a moment where you just like sit down and take a breath, or has it sort of brought you to that point where you're just like, not much of it matters, but I need to take a breath and all that stuff.
It was. I want to say it was probably like a marriage between the two things that you're describing right now. Because one of the first things that happened is, um, anybody that knows me knows I'm pretty organized. Like I actually have a very extensive digital system, not just for myself, but for work and everything that's tied to it. And the
Nice.
very first thing that probably happened was I stopped using it. I just stopped, like
Yeah.
100%. I stopped using it. I actually went back to like a regular like paper system. And the only
Mhm.
reason I'm using this right now is because I'm at the level of stress where I'm a little forgetful. That happens like when the cortisol gets into your brain to a certain extent, it starts to affect your memory.
Yeah.
So every time I'm kind of like, I have to remember that, I'll write it in here so that way I don't forget it.
Yeah.
Instead of having to use like technology to search for it, which is technically more efficient. But like there was something about when all that went down where I was like, I just don't want to deal with that. Right.
Yeah.
Like I want something that's super simple. That's not like I don't need to turn it on. I can open it, close it, whatever. So that was the first thing. And then after that, the other thing I noticed is that I just wanted to be outside more.
Yeah.
I wanted to go outside. I wanted to experience the air, pet my dogs, do all that. Instead of being, like there's another room over here that I usually sit in where I like play like World of Warcraft and things like that. And I was
Nice.
like, no, like I don't want to play a video game. I want to go sit outside. I want to go see life. Right.
Yeah.
I wanted to experience it. But I know after I got like the diagnosis, like there was like a moment when I was sitting in the parking lot and I was like, there's definitely like some things I'm working on right now that are like way more important than other things.
Yeah.
And so like I think I sent an email to one client. I was like, hey, look, no offense, I've got some stuff going on. You're gonna have to find somebody else because I can't do this for you right now.
Yeah. No, and that makes sense because I mean, and to just kind of give this point, it wasn't, you know, obviously the cousin, a lot older cousin, who passed away of cancer. But I did have a brother-in-law who just lost his mom, and he's a single kid.
Mm-hmm.
And so he just lost the only pretty much the only parent he has. I mean, I the father thing is a bit messy, but like he just lost his mom, and that sort of thing is not something that it's going to. He has his own family. He's married, obviously, to my sibling, and he has a family and all this stuff. So things are going to pick up where it's going to take. But there's always going to be a recess in the back of the mind where you're gonna be like, I don't have a mom anymore, and uh, and I think to some degree we all have to come face with that because it is there, ever looming. But I almost feel like, did you ever read the Harry Potter series?
I,
Um,
in fact, have all of the books right over there.
oh well, then you'll
First,
understand.
first edition, bitches. Because I know later editions were changed.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
now she's throwing up signs. No, it reminds me of when they were talking about Carrow going gangsta alive.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of when they were talking about the story of the brothers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perseverus and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that got me is when I can't remember. It started with a P. He had the cloak, and he lived his whole life as was. And then at the end, he gave his cloak to his son. He said he instead of meeting death as an enemy, he met it as like an old friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's sort of. I mean, obviously, there are ways, obviously mastectomy or whatever, and obviously you'll most likely get over this. You'll get through it and all that stuff. But there are people who face much dire, and so it comes to the point where you either see death as an enemy or a friend, and honestly, it's always going to be a scary thought. Like even for me, there are times where I kind of get scared, but then I realize I get to do something like this, and you always think like, okay, so what's more important? That I get to talk to all these people and I get to leave behind something that says, hey, these people were people at one point. It wasn't about any niche item or whatever. Maybe we talked a little bit about something, always there, that thing. But these people just came on and they said their stuff, their piece, and there was nothing forced to it. It was all just naturally going. I'd rather have that than just like, how many videos do I have to make, whatever. Because
Mm-hmm.
and even with my job, which allows me to do this, that matters less than what this means because this has unlimited potential. And I think, when you have to come to that point, especially as an adult, yeah, it's not an easy thing. I would say it's probably the most well, it's probably the one most daunting thing in your life you'll have to face, and when you're faced with it pretty early, you're like, "Well, I hope the curtain doesn't close that early."
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's just my perspective because again, um, having a family member who's had to deal with cancer, and then of course, family loss and all this stuff. It really does hit at a certain point. There's some things never leave after so long, and
Mm-hmm.
those are the tough ones. But I mean, again, that's just me. But no, yeah, yeah. I can't imagine, and I'm glad at least you're here, which is a good thing, because I just I just like it's almost like you give some love and it's sort of sarcastic in the manner.
Pet practice.
You're like, what's up, guys? You just do
I'm
like
still here. Stop. I do that in meetings too. Like I was meeting with the printer at work, and at one point they're like, "Are we good?" And I was like,
You know what? You know what? Maybe if you add a party hat during when that happens, like, something seems different about you.
"Yeah, probably."
That'd be too funny. Oh man. But anyway, it is a bit of the top of the hour. And so what happens is I know some creators kind of do this stuff at like the beginning or at the end, or maybe sporadically throughout. But what I do is at the top there, as I said, this is a time for me and my guest to promote our stuff. Now obviously I've had on people who aren't creators so they kind of say a few words or whatever. But because a lovely like yourself is a bit of a creator, well, I mean, it's been a while since you've done anything on your YouTube, at least as far
Oh
as
yeah,
I
that channel's dead. Don't go there,
know.
guys. There's nothing. I mean, you can probably go find like my drunk book reviews if you want
Yeah,
those. Those are pretty good evergreen content. There
yeah.
was one book, it was 50 Shades of Grey. I drank so much
Oh,
bitching about that book, I fell out of my chair, and like sober me had to come back and finish the book. So
oh.
that was exciting.
I was like, and can you believe the same woman who wrote Twilight Zone or the Twilight wrote this book? I cannot believe it. And women bought it by the buttloads.
Oh no, it wasn't the same person. It's actually worse.
Really?
So yeah, so 50 Shades of Grey, it was originally fan fiction of Twilight.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, so
That's that.
it started as fan fiction, and then a publisher saw how much like clicks and views it was getting on that person's website,
Yeah.
and reached out to that person. And they were like, "Hey, do you want to change some names and make that an actual book?" And that writer was like, "You damn Skippy, I do." And
Yeah.
so they made it a book. But I really wish that that person had had an editor, because I have to tell you guys, the book is trash. I'm not saying it's trash for kinks shaming purposes. I mean, it is like legitimately trash.
Uh,
Like here's my favorite example, right? My favorite example of why this book is trash. We've got Anastasia. We have Anastasia, right? And she is the valedictorian of
uh,
her year. So
uh,
she gotta be kind of smart, at least book smart, right? You know how
yeah,
to
yeah.
put words and do all the things, right? So you're book smart. You've been doing this. You're graduating. You've been in college for 4 years. So I don't understand, even at the time frame when they set this period, why
Mm,
she doesn't know how to use Google and she
mm,
doesn't have a Gmail.
mm.
Like she doesn't have any of that. And at one point, like, Christian Grey is kind of like, well, what's your email so I can email you? And she's like, I don't have one. I was like, that's fucking bullshit. Every college makes you get a fucking email. Every one of them. Every college makes you get an email, even
Yeah,
if it's something.edu. Okay,
yeah,
like you're
yeah,
gonna have one. And so
yeah.
she's like, I've never had one. Like, so there was that. And then my other favorite thing was when she finally got a computer, because she'd never had a computer before. Never
Right.
really used one outside of campus, which also makes no fucking sense because campus has hours.
Oh, yeah.
If you're valedictorian, you were probably working late. What the fuck were you working on?
Oh,
Right?
jeez. Mm.
And then at that point, when she finally got like her computer and she got her Gmail, she was like, gee golly, I'm on Google. Who the fuck talks like that? I don't know. But it's like, what is happening? Like, tell me that you're out of touch with current age without
Right.
telling me.
Yeah,
So,
that's,
and that's not
yeah.
even the kinky shit. Like, I could get into like the weird kinky stuff, but it's like, oh yeah. And then there's the fact that she can't actually talk to any dude in the book without them being obsessed with her. I hate that. I hate that so much. Like, it's the ultimate Mary Sue like indicator.
Mm.
I hate it. If you
Well,
couldn't tell, I really fucking hate her.
please, no. Tell us how you really feel.
1 out of 10, don't recommend.
Oh my
Don't.
goodness.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't. You can't. I mean, someone could point to like manga and say, "Oh, look, the harem stuff, right?" Like you could point to manga and point all the harem stuff, and say, "Wow, all this one dude's getting all these ladies." Like, okay, sure, but I mean, they're more prettier than the girls. But anyway, the point of the matter is that you could point to manga and point to that harem stuff. Um, and Fairy Mysterious says she totally agrees. Yeah. Well, the funny thing too is like even with Twilight, right? Like a vampire to go out in the sun looks sparkly. I mean, what?
No, see, no, it's even worse than that because this is a bunch of like 100-year-old people around minors. Like, why around why minors? Why are we putting the 100+ year vampires with 17-year-olds? Like, that's creepy. That's really weird, guys. Like, even Buffy had like towed that line too much for me, right?
Oh, well, she had Spike. Yeah, so she had
Yeah.
Spike there.
Well, she had Spike and Angel. So first she got with the 200-year-old vampire, and then she got together. No, I guess he was. Yeah, because Spike came after. No, shit, I don't remember. No, it came after.
Yeah, it was
Because
back there. Yeah,
because he was turned by the
Darla.
daughter. Yeah. Okay,
Darla.
so we had the older gentleman and then the younger gentleman by like 15 years, right?
Yeah, something like that. It's, but oh my, Oh my, everyone is loving me. What
What
do
do
I
I
do?
do?
Oh, dear Lord, I am about to faint, and all
I
these men
can't.
will carry
How
me.
do I tell you no? Like, please stop mooching on me. Don't touch me there. That's my no box. Like,
I just, those. I mean, again, they did well. They sold a lot. I mean, obviously, Robert Pattinson got hounded by a lot of older women, so that was something,
mhm.
something right there. But anyway, anyway, I am posting, your link. Oh no, I am posting your link in chat. So, Miss Carroll Brown, if you want to promote your stuff, the floor is yours.
Well, I have a couple of things that you can find on the website. Some of them are for free, some of them are behind a membership. I also have a number of those works available on Amazon. So if you are a Kindle e-reader person and you would rather do it there, I have it over there. I don't care. If you buy it wherever you want to buy it. I'm not picky.
Mm.
I have the most of my short stories are of the smut variety because I tried to test the Amazon algorithm at one point to see how I
Yeah.
could get more notice, and I found out that I could get more notice if I posted a short story once a week.
Mhm.
And so short stories anywhere between like 5 and 10,000 words. And
Oh.
so I did that for a while and I did get more notice, but it also came at the cost that all the stories had to be 99 cents. And it didn't end up financially making sense because it usually cost me about $150 to put an actual story out.
Oof.
And then when I say actual story, I don't mean like I vomited onto the page and then I
Yeah.
just published it. Because there are some people who will do that, but I don't like doing that. But so I did that. I posted 18 stories, so 150 times 18. You can do that math. But I was only making $30 a month on that. So when you go to my website and you see that there's like a whole abundance of smut, it's because I wrote it, and I'm just like maybe I can make my money back on that at some point. But I do have like some other classic. Oh, sorry, dropping my shit. I do have like some other non-smutty stuff. So I've got one book. This is a different
Oh.
cover. But I have Queen of Swords and Silence. This is an urban fantasy story about a man-eating monster learning how to make friends and find love without getting blamed for the world ending.
Right.
It's my first book I ever wrote. It's probably one of my favorite concepts. And the only reason I haven't finished writing this quartet is because after I broke up with that publisher, I didn't want to write anymore.
Right.
Because it was I actually can't tell you about the breakup because I'm under a gag order. That's how good it
Yeah.
was. So,
NDA. Yeah.
yeah. They were kind of like, you can never talk about us ever.
You mention us once, and we'll come to your house and take all your books.
Yeah, every now and then they send an intern to like go snoop on my stuff, and the interns are usually like 18-year-olds who don't know how to really snoop very well. So I'm always like, I know why you're here, and they're like, no. Do you happen to know like this publisher? Like, go away. Shoo. I'm not getting caught in some weird legal thing because you need money. Go away.
Yeah, it's like, hey, the ball's over here. Come on,
Yeah.
focus on the ball. Focus on the
Shoo.
ball. Here's the keys. Here's the keys.
Yeah. But that was my first book, and then I have there's another book that I actually really like. It is under the Faye Black name that I write, and that's probably my favorite book. And it's called Roll D20 for Love. So it's a story about these two people that meet over D&D, and they end up like falling in love with each other.
Yeah.
It's not unique. There's many more like it, but this one's mine, and I like it
Aw.
more. So if you guys are interested in that kind of story, that's available too. Also on Amazon it was for $4.99. I think I made it 99 cents because I was just like, please just fucking read the book. Like, here. The paper copy will cost you $10. I didn't get a say in that. That was Amazon printing prices. But if you just want the e-reader, it's 99 cents.
What you should have done is put it like in the preface, like just read the fudging book. Just read it.
I should just go back in there. I should go back in there and be like, yo, author note here. I made this book 99 cents. Please just fucking read it. Like, put like some thumb up emojis.
put like an angry emoji in there and all that stuff. It's like, read the effing book.
Read the fucking book. I put a lot of words in here, bitch. Fucking read them.
Yeah. And Freedom Mysterious says, I like stories like that. Oh, look at that. But yeah, again, her links will be on both Rumble side and YouTube side. So if you want to check out her stuff, because I know, again, when I went to your website, it says, are you 18 plus? I'm like, oh
well,
my.
no, because it's like the smut's on there, and
Yeah.
I'm just trying to cover my ass legally.
Yeah,
Because
that's
if
true.
if a minor gets on there, I don't want to deal with it. So
If a miner gets on there, they're not in the right place.
Yeah.
They should be in a mine.
Yeah, but I will
I know.
say that the stuff like this it's not rated R,
Mm,
but it does have a lot of gory violence in there. So it's another reason I have like, are you 18? Like, I really don't
yeah.
want to deal with you reading my stuff and being like, wow, you're really talking about ripping out people's guts. It's like kind of weird.
And then the Carrow Brown reached into his heart and said, "Dolly Ma, Dolly Ma."
Oh, nice Indiana Jones reference.
Hey, I know stuff. Okay, come on. I know stuff. Come on. I'm somewhat older. Okay.
Hmm.
Uh, probably around the same age. I don't know. But anyway, but again, her links will be down below on both Rumble and YouTube
Read the
side.
damn book. Read the fucking book.
Read it. Just read it, mother fudgers. Just read the book.
It's all 99 cents, damn it. Come on. You have no
Mama,
excuse.
Mama needs to make some brownie back. Come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be there, and give her a look, and then if she's worth a follow, why not? Right? Of course, her YouTube is an R-rated book. Yes, an R-rated book, basically. But she did say smut, so I guess
No. It's just violence. That's why.
well, I
So.
mean, the smut ones are gonna still have some, stuff in it.
Yeah, I mean, like there's some bits that bang together. Yeah. So
Wow, that was smutty. No. Cool. Check it out. Fairy says it must be cinematic. It probably could be. Now what you can do with basically, I mean, with how Grok's going, sooner or later, even authors will cut across the middleman and make a movie out of their own book, and they will have to go like the theaters or studios and stuff to do it, which would be a nice thing for some, but still, it's far off from that. But anyway, from my end of things, whether you're on the Rumble side or the YouTube side, doesn't matter which side you're on because I stream to both, obviously. If you wouldn't mind leaving a like, sharing the content, leaving a comment or follow, anything that helps with the engagement factor is much appreciated because not only is helping being seen more, like all content creators want to be. If someone says they don't want to be seen more, they are either lying or they're really doing something they shouldn't, and we got to be careful of that. But but anyway, it not only helps with that, it also helps in having other people on, like Carrow Brown, like Fairy Mysterious, like some of I've had on over 270 various guests, and November is shaping up to be even more wonderful and great people. Again, I don't care about status. I don't really care about your follow count. I care if you're just willing to give having a conversation about whatever as an opportunity. And believe me, it'd be nice if there were more of them, especially with what's going on nowadays. Just talking about whatever. I don't give a rat's behind about topics and stuff, but I will go if asked. But anyway, for my end of things, that's right. Goodness. For my stuff, hold on. That's my link right there. It has my email, it has my Twitter X in there. It also has I have a link to Discord, but it's mostly just for DMing because some people are on X or they don't have email or whatever. They just find Discord much easier to talk through. So I have something through there too. But pretty much my Rumble and YouTube links are in there as well. But again, all my stuff is in there. For my other stuff though, quickly though, as I've stated before, I'm part of Rumble's creative program, but I don't do the thing to earn money from it, which is never about that anyway. But I am a part of Proton's partner program. And if you don't know what Proton is, there's Proton Mail, Proton VPN, all that stuff. I'm promoting something that's called Proton Unlimited, which is like their all-in-one plan, which covers like Proton Drive, Proton Pass, Proton Mail, and Proton VPN, and it just encompasses that. It's sort of like Microsoft's Word, where it covers like Excel and all of that stuff. But the links right here, if you want to check it out, you do get a certain amount off for like the annual part of it, but not like monthly. But I do it myself. I pay like $48 a year. But I really do use Proton every day, and it's great. And again, when you want to talk about privacy stuff and you hear about the news of like a company got what was it? A company got hacked and all the passwords are out there, whatever. Nothing is ever 100% privacy on the internet. I hope all of you understand that because it's true. But that Proton really, I do believe in what Proton's trying to do, and they really do a great job of. It's again, nothing's 100%, so don't take it that way. But even if you don't, it's still there as an option. And while I can make money off it, it's really not about the point. I'm just trying to um, promote a benefit rather than just like cha-ching sort of thing. So there's that. Um, and a new thing I'm doing, because funny thing is I didn't expect it, but I got to actually talk to the people who own this. There's a thing uh, called biltong, and I know it's a South African thing, but it's basically sort of like if you've ever had beef jerky, this is sort of a better version, but it's not like jerky. I really don't know how to explain well, but this is a company that actually makes it in the U.S. It's a husband and wife, and it was just a surprise to me. Weird thing is that they gave me like some samples to try, and I was like, "You don't have to do that. I'm okay with that." Um, maybe, but I was like, "You don't have to do that stuff." And then they're like, "Oh, we'll give you a code for all that." And I was like, Okay, I don't know, but all right." So you know what? I'm just trying to you spread it around and you can look at it, you cannot. I mean, they do more than biltong. They do like English candies and different kind of foods for me. Like there's this one bag of chips I got. It was called Walkers, and it was like cheese and onion, which was really good, by the way. I really enjoyed it. And they had like glass bottles of Dr. Pepper, obviously, and all that stuff. There's a whole bunch of things you can look at there. You know, it's like window shopping, right? You take a look. If it's not for you, great. That's fine. You know what? It is what it is. But they really did a lot to for me, uh, that I didn't ask, and I'm always grateful for it. But I figured I'd promote and all that stuff. So if you want to, the link is there. It's like nothing like jerky. It's basically soft sliced beef. Yeah, it's just done in a different way. I just don't know how to explain it very well, so I apologize. But the link is there. You can give it out, take a look. They do more than just biltong, more stuff. But at the end of the day, the people who own it are really nice, and I thank him for the opportunity. So there is that, and of course I wanted to bring this up as well. Slidey Pie says that to you. Look at that,
Thank
cancer
you.
free. Yeah, no, that's pretty awesome. That is pretty awesome. Yeah, because you know usually I think it comes to the thing like you hear the stories because they do those commercials or stuff for St. Jude's, right? And that's usually most
Hmm.
for children. And it's very sad, right? You know, a child shouldn't be in that position, but somehow, some way, whether it be genetics or some other factor, you know, you have a kid like cancer. And even with an adult, no one wants to be in that place. But when you are there, you kind of just you kind of go through the process. And I wish it really wasn't like you had to take radiation for it, because that just seems to be more damaging than anything else, but it seems like to be the only way to get rid of cancer. Although I do know that, like you're trying to do, like taking better care of yourself, vitamins and whatnot. I really think that's a good way to go too. But you know, things are as they are. So yeah, I really do hope things go over well, because no one wants to be there, neither a child nor adult. But when you're there, y- y-
Yeah.
you're
One
long
step at a time. So
one step at a time. That's right. Like the song from Santa Claus is no, it's not. I think it was Santa Claus coming down. It's like put one foot in front of the other, and then you're out walking out the door. That sort of thing. I know I'm old. He's like, "How old are you?" Look, don't ask questions you don't want answers to. Oh man, but yeah, it's very interesting because uh like for that biltong people, like it's just a husband and wife, and they run this business in Texas. Um,
I'll do
uh,
they.
yeah, it says son. What? What was it? I had a card. Hold on, let me 1 second, because that card has it. Here we go. So this is their thing right here. So if anyone could see that, oh, can't see it. Sunset, Texas. It says right there.
Okay.
So that's where they're. I know they're moving to a new place, or whatever. But Sunset, Texas, where at they're actually opening a new store. Although they did get hit by a storm, so they're kind of set back a bit. But I mean, they have like a funny thing. I went to the website and they actually showed like they have a little store inside, so you can actually go around and shop a bit, whatever. But yeah, it really is interesting, and to give kind of example of what it looks like. This is one of their stuff. And yeah, this is U.S. Wagyu. They also have one for Angus and whatnot. They have a spicy one called Peri Peri, but it's basically like it's like thin strips of meat, and they're done with some spices and stuff. And I just don't know how it's done. I just know that it's a South African ordeal, and I'm just like, I'm really horrible explaining it, but yeah, but yeah, they're in Texas, and I'm from Indiana, so I'm not gonna be able to visit, which is sad. But life is as it is. But do you? I'm guessing you live in Texas, then?
Yeah, that's why I was like, oh, like, can I drive there? Like, okay, so I can't drive there. That was my first thing I figured out. But it means that it'll just get here faster, and that's fine.
That's true. That is very true, especially because I mean, I know a lot of people. Not okay. I should apologize. I know quite a few people from Texas. There's a lady named Libertarian Goth who actually is sort of a
A fine
face.
name.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Well, she's a libertarian, so there you go. But she's
Good
more
branding,
yeah,
libertarian and goth. Like,
yeah, goth culture, baby. That's what she is. But she's also like a makeup artist. She does a bunch of different other stuff. But she's really great, and I've had her on for a few times. But she lives in Texas as well. Um, I've talked to a few people. Uh, was it Demonic Rebel was lives in Texas. A Kaiju. Kaiju's another one. He's a VTuber, although
mhm.
he does like to display the female VTuber avatars once in a while. Just Kaiju, man, you got to give it up, man.
Just switch it up every now and then. Just keep people on their toes. Like one day I'll be a kaiju, the other day I'll be a beautiful woman. I love the internet.
Oh yes, gotta love the internet. It allows you to do so many different things, and then you just sitting there saying, "What? They said what now?" Oh my gosh! But yeah, yeah, it kind of gets ridiculous when, because X, right, and all that stuff. You look at X and you're just like, I don't even know how we would survive with this. But I think it's kind of only looking at a small slice, because like you were talking about earlier about going outdoors and all that stuff, spending more time outdoors. I think that's really not the total case, but with more and more people having cell phones and whatnot, that's kind of an iffy thing right there too. Is like, what's the extent of, like, if everyone gets a cell phone, will more people be more online or less online? And that's kind of the tricky question, because
I mean, they're
not
already answering that right now. Because you're the youngest generation right now is considered the loneliest generation because they don't do as many in-person interactions anymore.
mhm,
Think about grocery shopping. I
yeah,
mean, I just think about grocery shopping. We'll do that.
yeah, yeah,
Um, because when I was growing up and I went to the grocery store,
yeah,
I have a couple examples, right? When I would go to the grocery store with my grandmother,
mhm,
I almost kind of dreaded it because it wouldn't be a quick go in and leave, right?
mhm,
We would go in, she'd find somebody from church, they would talk next to produce for about 20 minutes about something,
yeah,
and then we would finally get to like the butcher area, and then we'd run into somebody from the quilting group. So she's going to talk to them at the quilting group, or
right.
while they're trying to figure out what kind of Angus beef they want to get. And then on the way out, when we finally get to like the register, we're going to be there for about another 10 minutes because she wants to talk to the register person because it's been a whole 3 days since I've last seen you, and how is Becky doing and all that other stuff, right?
Yeah,
So there was that. And then when I used to go to the grocery store with my dad,
mhm,
we might run into like one of his work buddies, and then they would shoot the shit while, but it was interesting because they would shoot the shit and walk at the same time. So it wouldn't
yeah,
be just like you have to stop and do it like they're doing the grocery shopping and talking at the same time. And then you have me who's like, go in, grab my shit, leave. Right.
yeah.
And it's almost weird because if I run into somebody that I know, it's like a Bigfoot sign. I'm like, holy fucking shit, like you're here. What are you doing here?
You following me? Leave me alone.
Yeah. So, and part of that is just because, you could say I'm just an antisocial person. right?
Yeah.
And I might also be like one of those people that just doesn't like grocery shopping. And the reason I don't like grocery shopping is because humanity just gets in my way. Like I just want to grab my grapes and leave. Okay, that's
Yeah.
all I want to do, right? I don't want to stop. I don't want to deal with children. I don't like.
Yeah.
That's why I almost like online shopping because I don't have to deal with it. But the problem with online shopping is the people who pick my stuff pick the wrong shit, and then I get upset because I don't have what I want, and I still have to go to the store.
Yeah.
I'm angry. But we don't have like those random social encounters anymore. And so because what we have are like online groups, right?
Mm.
And it's so interesting because when I went to the first MegaCon, I'd already worked for Eric for like officially at Rippaverse for a year. I'd worked for him before, but like
Right.
I wasn't super active in his community because it just wasn't my scene, right? Like
Right.
that's how you can tell how old I am. Like, it's not my scene, guys. It's not my scene. But when we launched and everything, I became a lot more involved because when Eric streams, he talks about work shit that he hasn't told me about, and it's kind of like, thanks for telling me that you're launching something on Friday. Like I didn't know. Like I'm part
Yeah.
of this team.
Yeah.
So there were those moments, and then naturally, because I work for the company, people want to talk to me and they want to build that relationship and rapport. And so I'd be like, "Oh, hey, what's up?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and what ended up happening is I started knowing people by like avatar names, right? And
Oh,
so
yeah.
yeah, and so like the one I probably talk to the most is Mike has bad knees, right? Like Mike with bad knees shows up. I'm like, hey Mike, what's up? And so we like talk back and forth for a little bit, and then Eric says something on the stream, we all react. It's like, oh. And at one point, we went to the Denver con, and I was standing there, and a guy walks up to me with like his son. I'm like, "Oh, hey, what can I do for you today?" And he was kind of like, "Well, I'm bad. I'm Mike, who's bad at knees." And I was like, "What the fuck? You're a real person? You have a child." I wasn't expecting this. Like, what's going on? But those meetings that we have like at the conventions, they're really illuminating for me as somebody because I have a psychology background.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, so because I started off in the military, I got into teaching, and then I wanted to get
Oh,
out of teaching because teaching's a cesspool. Like,
right.
yeah, it's a complete cesspool.
Mm.
But I thought like, okay, well, I have this special education degree. Maybe I can like transition into something else. Like
Mm.
career wise, not physically wise. That's not what I'm trying to do, guys.
Right. Right.
But even though I'm going to have to be on chemo and blockers, and they're going to have to cut things off, I'm not transitioning, guys. So I went into psychology, and I got really into like talking about like personas and stuff like that. And I'm always still fascinated when I see individuals at either when they react online or how they meet when they're first in person and things like that.
Mm.
And it's so obvious that they want to bond together to the point where I'm like, I love that you guys are talking, but could you do it away from the table, right?
Yeah.
And it's because they spend so much time talking to each other remotely that they are so like thirsty hungry for like this in-person encounter. And
Yeah.
so and a lot of them like bond really well. Like one of my buddies, his name is Fidel.
Mm.
And when we met at last MegaCon, that was the second time we had an in-person meeting. He and I like, text each other every now and then. I'm like, did you drink your water today?
Yeah.
And he showed up at the second MegaCon, and I didn't think this through very well because he said he'd been sober for six months.
Yeah.
And at that time I was like, do you want to have like a shot of whiskey? Because that's usually what I do with my friends. And he was like, yeah. And then he kept drinking. So that was my
Yeah.
fault. I was the gateway for that.
Yeah.
But what was really nice is like some of these other people that we knew online, because he was traveling in the car, and I was like, no, you can't sleep in your car with the engine on in Florida
Yeah.
they will arrest you.
Yeah.
And so like some of these nice people in our community were like, no, you can come stay with us, for the night and drink food and stuff like that. And they like the kindness of the group, right? Like, it's still
Yeah.
present. And I feel so sad because we're always like, we're so trained on like stranger danger right now. It's kind of like, oh, I met somebody online, might be a sociopath, don't know.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so it's the guy on the bus that sits behind somebody, but we don't know that until we do.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, so
I think it kind of goes with that sort of thing, like you in the saying of you truly don't know somebody until you do, but even then you may not, because I think people even with the online stuff where you can hide behind a username, I think even in person you sort of get she's brave. Yes, she's very brave. She'll beat somebody though. I believe she'll beat somebody. Um, but I just think like I mean I'm not too deep in the psychology, but I mean I have I've read a book called like Influence. I followed someone a bit like Scott Adams and stuff, where they do talk about persuasion and stuff like that, and that deals with a form of psychology onto itself. But you kind of get the seeing thing of even if you understand it a little bit, you kind of see how people process it. Psychology is basically at its most basic form. It's just the mind chasing the mind.
Mhm.
Is basically what it is, which is kind of an oxymoron because it's the mind chasing the mind. It's kind of a funny thing to think about.
Mhm.
But it's always a fascination because you can you if you were to just like use a social media space, right? You get to see this huge space of I don't know, experimentation or whatever, where you're just like, this is the biggest psychological blob I've ever seen in my life, and it is insane and
Mhm.
how it works. And you just feel like that doesn't make any sense. That's sort of like cognitive dissonance, and then you got confirmation bias over there, and you got
Mhm.
fallacies. It's just insane, but it also is kind of like one of ways of like helping you in a sense being aware of like maybe manipulators or something like that. Because
Oh
I
yeah, narcissists on the internet is absolutely a thing. It's so when I was originally going and getting my master's in psychology, you have to do a
Mm,
thesis at some point.
yeah.
And when I was working on that, what I wanted to do was I wanted to do a study about the personalities that we escape to be in an online environment.
Mm,
And because I always felt that was really telling, because there's lots of people that will make up like a whole online caricature of who they want to be,
yeah.
whether it be kind of like an exaggerated version of themselves, or you've got like people who will literally just try and be like a whole other person, like they're role playing that.
Yeah.
Now I've seen the negative examples of that, like what was his name? I'm friends with him, but I can't remember his name right now.
Mhm.
It's gonna come to me later, guys. It's gonna come
Okay.
to me later. Anyway, he's a long term writer. He's been writing for like 30 years. He wrote for Warhammer and he writes his own books.
Nice.
Um, his name isn't Putane. It's something. It will arrive. But what happened was he was working for Warhammer for like 20 years, 20,
Wow.
0, a 2 and a 0, not 0 2, but 2 0, right?
Right.
And he had a stalker, and his stalker was a mentally ill repeat offender, right? and,
Wow.
and that person would send harassing emails, threatening messages, like the whole gambit, right?
Mhm.
And the author in question like told his publisher about this. Is like, look, here's the police reports, here's my past examples with this person, like they're just mentally ill, like I've done everything I can. And the publisher was like, okay, fine, whatever. But this weirdo online decided that they were going to become a single mother lesbian online. And so they became a single mother lesbian online. First off, you're not a single mother because you don't have any kids. You're not a
Yeah.
woman. So, but they became the single mother lesbian and they embraced that. And then they started filing the exact same complaints and the harassment as before. But
Yeah.
single mother lesbian now.
Mhm.
And he got fired. Even though he found proof. It's like, no, this is the exact same person. They're just pretending to be this person. And they're
Yeah.
like, well, we don't care. It's a single
Yeah.
mother lesbian, so now we have to let you go. And
Yeah.
then what drove me nuts is, so he lost his job, and then they hired the single mother lesbian to write a story for them. Like, what fucking wacky ass world is this, right? But so that's like probably the worst example that I've seen. But like in other places, like MMO roleplay communities, like
Yeah.
that's where I got like the really like keen interest to figure out what this was, because the amount of people who would like create a character and they would either become the character or they would just create like the baby character that they always had to like make better than everyone else.
Yeah.
Or you would have like the men that would make women that hated them. And it was so, for me, it was really interesting. I was like, why did you create this character that you wanted to roleplay? Like, what does that say about you? Right.
Yeah.
And and I wanted, that's what I wanted to write about. I wanted to write about the escapism that we became. But
Mm.
naturally, it got turned down because I can't prove the validity of my data, because what I'm doing is I'm asking dishonest people to be honest about why they're being dishonest, right? And so if I went to try and defend my thesis, I wouldn't win, like, at all. I would have
Yeah.
no empirical data, I have no survey. So I had to write something retarded, like,
Yeah.
the psychology of the gig economy and modern blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
That was, and of course, like when I wrote that, they were kind of like, well, we don't think that the workplace is going to shift to the gig economy like what you're talking about. And I was like, oh, I know you haven't left this college in a long time, but yeah. And so I wrote a whole paper about the psychology of the gig economy within the current structure and how it was going to erode everything and
Yeah.
cause more burnout. And ultimately, the businesses would suffer because they wouldn't have that maintained loyalty with the employee.
Yeah.
And that person's just there to do the job and then leave.
Yep.
But because they do the job and they leave, the other problem is that they do the job, leave problems, and then they leave them with the problems as well. They don't care. They're like, I got paid, I'm out.
Well, just to kind of give you a ground for example, you have people come in. Basically, you have jobs that are basically filling holes with bodies, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other part of that too is that you have maybe one or two people trained on something, and when they leave, no one knows how to do that job, and you need that job done. That job is important, but they don't have, and so it's this kind of juxtaposition where you have these things like you were saying, yeah, they leave, they come and do that, but then the business propagates that.
Mm-hmm.
Any business propagates that because, well, maybe not all business because there are family businesses who try to do better and stuff, but most businesses propagate that sort of thing where it's just a body filling a hole, and that's basically it, right? Because that's why some businesses have high turnover. Like my job is high turnover. They're just there to fill holes in a
Mm-hmm.
ditch. Well, maybe not like that, but they're just there
I
to fill
get you,
holes.
yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like you want people to be loyal to business, but you can't even be loyal to your, because again, you have these states where it's like what was it, right to work, right, for a state,
Mm-hmm.
and basically they can let you go at any time for any reason they can make up for. But you have to give 2 weeks. Otherwise, you get some like bad promotion if you just leave and never say anything, or you just say, I'm quitting on the day of and then go.
I
You
mean,
get this.
I've done both. I've literally just quit and like walked out of a thing before, and I've
Uh,
hired people as well. And I've always like when I not Rippaverse, there was another job where I was
yeah,
hiring, and the lady who owned the business, she's like, "Well, make sure that you get the referrals." And I was like, "The referrals are fucking pointless,
yeah,
right?" Because people who give me a referral are usually going to refer somebody to me that says nice things,
yeah,
right? Like that's what they're going to do. So it's like I'm not going to get an honest, thing
yeah,
about this person. And I can't call the job place that they worked at last because all they're legally allowed to say was they did work here. Like that's
yeah,
all they can do because everything after that turns defamation of character, especially if we're
yeah.
talking about how they can't, um, like I can't. Who was it? There was one person that I hired, and I knew I wasn't going to hire them because when I did the call to verify employment, and
Mm.
I was kind of like, hey, I'm just, I'm working at the so and so place. I interviewed so and so. I'm just trying to verify, like, employment. And what happened was they said yes, they did work there, but there was like this pause, right? And I was like, that's a pause. Like
Uh-oh.
you're waiting to tell me if this person worked here or not. But yeah, so they were like, yeah, they did work here between this period and that period. And I was like, okay, thank you. Good to know.
Mm,
Right.
yeah.
And I told my boss about it. And I was like, hey, like they had a pause. Like, well, they might have been looking up the record. I was like, no, man, it was a pause. You don't
Yeah.
understand. But we ended up hiring that chick, and then I had to fire her 3 months later. Not because I wanted to,
Right.
but that job I worked for was a caregiving group. So basically, people
Mm.
who are like who need extra assistance, but they're not at the hospice state yet,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Or they work with hospice. It's a conjuncture thing.
yeah.
And so what happened was that person in particular got into an altercation at a bar and pulled a gun
Ugh.
on somebody. So, if you don't know this, when you do stuff like that, it means you can't work with vulnerable populations anymore. And so,
Yeah,
I get a letter actually, I got a phone call. They're like, you have to fire that person right now. And I was like, okay.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, it's probably not the most insane thing, but that is pretty insane. Um, but yeah, it's just like when talking about like business law, oh my gosh, oh my god, I dislike this every time this is said. When when a business calls you family and they're not a family business, that's the first sign you need to be wary of anything they do. Because no business, or at least not family business or whatever, many businesses will say that and they're not family. I don't
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
I don't care what you say. I don't care how lovey-dovey you've been with some of those people. If they can let you go on a dime, they are not family, and they never will be.
Yeah, I know, like, when we're not hiring anybody right now, but like when we were hiring people and people were like, what's the environment like? Is it like this? And I was like, when people tell you it's a family environment, the only family part of the environment is that we're all like siblings fighting each other over like grandma's dinner roll at Thanksgiving because we want the dinner roll and we don't want the
Yeah,
other one to have it. And,
yeah,
at some point things will get thrown.
yeah,
Like that's the family vibe, but otherwise you need to be working, right?
yeah.
And that's what we do. And I also like have to be like, so like, how are you with like racist jokes? And it's kind of like, what do you mean? Like, we make a lot of racist jokes here. Like, are you comfortable with that?
So he's
You
like, so as an example, right? We're gonna say, oh, two blacks and a Jew walk into a bar. It's like, I'm already done.
Yeah, like nobody's safe. We got one person that's a ginger. He's always on the chopping block for a joke, right? It's and I've got Karen hair. Like ever since I cut my hair, they're like, oh my god, we have a Karen. I was like, don't worry, I'll bring all the liberals to the table. It'll be fine, right?
I,
So
I was gonna think more emo hair, but that's just more of a look of like what like I think it was like one of the characters in South Park has that hair like that, where they just have it half showing the face and all this stuff. It's like and all that.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
love that. Yeah.
But I always warn folks. I was kind of like, man, I hope you're not uncomfortable with race jokes. And they're kind of like, well, I don't make race jokes. I was like, that wasn't my question. They're happy.
so you don't like so you don't like blacks. Yeah, that's really not gonna go over far.
Yeah.
No, but it again for me, and it's the same thing with platforms too. Like I get it for like some people will call a platform family, but it's no different than a business. I really do not like that. I mean, don't make me wrong. I'm not throwing that at like you or the Ripverse, whatever.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just in general of when someone calls a platform family or the people they know as family. I'm just like, look, you've met these people online and you may know them somewhat, and they may be really good friends. That's their cue. But you have to understand that you don't truly know these people as you think you know these people.
Yeah.
And it's not like, suspecting someone of, uh, you know, some spying or whatever, or like you just look at them with suspicion eyes at all times. No, it's just called being cautious. And the other part about it is like the reason why I don't agree when people call a platform family is because I work at a job where they sort of do the same thing. I've been at jobs where they do the sort of same thing, and I'm like, that's just not a truth. Like you already have a family. I mean, unless your family's really crap, then that's sad. But some people do have that. But like, if your business calls us family, there's a lot there's a lot wrong with that because your family, that family can let you go at any time, and once you're gone, they don't care about you anymore. So
Yeah.
it's not really a family. It's like even with a platform, like that platform can let you go at any time for any reason and they don't have to give you a really good reason. And you're just like, where's my family at? Where's my family? I just a community great, a fellowship maybe, friends great, but it's just like calling it a family is really just over the top, and it's really not a truth to what it actually means. They can fire, yeah,
What See what you do is when like, yeah, we're like a family here. It's like, oh, that's amazing. Like, are we talking like Brady Bunch family? Are we talking like Jerry Springer family? Are we talking like Roseanne
yeah,
family? Or like,
Jerry,
you know,
Jerry,
Family
Jerry.
Matters family? Because like, who's
Yeah,
Urkel, right?
yeah.
It's I'm pretty bad in interviews in the sense that when like people throw things at me like that, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, so like, what category are we talking? Are we talking about this, that, like, yeah.
Oh
So,
my gosh,
and they're never expecting that. So when you ask that question, they're like,
no, this is a funny thing too. Is like I went for an interview job, and it was sort of like a laundry cleaning company or whatever. And so I went in, and I'm all dressed up to look nice or whatever. And I'm coming to this guy, and the guy's interviewing me, and it's weird because I was sitting normally, like I'm sitting now or whatever, and I'm hands inside him. And he's sitting on this chair, like his knees up and stuff, or doing all this. He's kind of like comfortable in the chair, doing all that. I'm just like, what the heck is? I didn't say it out loud. I was just kind of thinking to myself. And then he's asking me like some about the lottery, like if I won the lottery, would I still be doing the same thing now or whatever? I'm just like, it'd be nice if I won the lottery, but it was just the way he was sitting was just like, why would you sit like that? It means it shows that you're comfortable, sure, but it's like, yeah, I didn't go for the job. Plus, it was too early in the morning, and I was not gonna go fly. Well, what do you mean? What kind?
oh, what kind of family? That's what. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what kind of family? Yeah.
Yeah.
I just again, that's just my perspective. You know what? Do what you will. Don't listen to me about all that stuff. But like, if you're on a platform or a business and they start talking about family, you already have one, and if you don't have one, then man, a job can get rid of you, a platform can get rid of you. They don't owe you anything at all, and that's where that family line is drawn. It's just like family sticks around a bit harder. They try to
Yeah.
do more for you, even when you spit in their faces. And believe me, there are plenty of examples out there.
Just trip
But
them up. Just start asking them questions. Like, oh yeah, we're like a family. It's, oh, okay, cool. Who's the wine at? Like, cause just start asking them that stuff, and they'll be
who's
like, oh, like, why are you asking that? It's like, you said like a family. Like, is Uncle Tom like, getting too close to like Aunt so and so? Like, what's happening?
wait, who's this HR? Is that like the great uncle or something? Like, what's going on here?
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just me, but I don't come after people when that regard comes up. I'm just like, look, I don't care to call it family because that's not true. You may think it's true. Emotions will just distract hard to work. Yeah, to some degree, yeah, and pay less. Well, gosh, they pay you less because the CEOs usually are the ones getting more, unless it's a nicer CEO, but those are rare CEO together. But yeah, it's just my perspective. I've seen enough to know enough. Again, uh, yeah, it's just one of those things. Especially when you're like you, for someone who knows a bit about psychology, whatever. It really is sort of like a twisted sort of I don't even know what you call that. A twisted sort of faux, I don't know, slave group at this point. Almost feels like that, or wage group. What do you call it? I think it. There's I. I
Wage
think
group's good. Yeah, wage group.
wage group, yeah. Or
Yeah.
I've heard someone say wage gauge culture. There you go, culture. I almost feel like there's slavery, and then there's an acceptable form of slavery,
Oh, indentured servitude or something.
and yeah, indentured
Yeah.
servitude. Yeah, that's basically it.
There was a guy I talked to at the last convention we went to, and it turns out he's like one of the coordinators for like all the conventions. So naturally, I was like, we should be friends because I'm probably going to see you again, right? But when we were talking, he said something to me that kind of stuck. He's like, "Yeah, my job's a golden handcuff position." I was like, "What the fuck is that? Is that some kinky shit?" Right? That was my first question. But he told me that the golden handcuff job is basically where they pay you really well, like it's
Yeah,
really good pay, but you have to do like a whole bunch of shit, right?
yeah.
And it's like it's not, and it's shit he doesn't want like doing. Like he's on a plane like every day to fly somewhere. He doesn't spend any time at home.
Hmm.
But again, it's a golden handcuff thing because he makes enough money that his family's very comfortable, even though he doesn't get to be with his family. So it's just
Yeah,
kind of, and he's like, and if I left my job, then they're not going to be in that position anymore, and I don't, so, yeah.
yeah. I almost feel like the content creator sphere is sort of a bit like that too. If you get big enough, you get a golden handcuff, but you
Mhm.
have to keep creating content in order to keep that. Yeah, golden handcuff sounds
Mhm.
really good. It's too good to be true, but yeah. But anyway, we're gonna start winding down because I know you got to get going soon, and I
Mhm.
wanna keep good in my promise to you. So we're gonna quickly go through all that stuff. Again, guys, her and my links down below. But if you want to do your say quick thing a bit or whatever you want to do about your stuff, the floor is yours.
Well, my name is Carrow Brown. I'm a urban fantasy author. I'm also one of the writers over at Rippaverse. The product that I did over at Rippaverse is Dirty Deeds. It's a space ragtag group and basically getting into jobs that get dirty. So if
Nice.
that's something that you like, that's available. The Rippazine is still available on the website. So if you want to get yours for like, I think it's $7 right now, you can still do that. If you're
Nice.
going to SpaceCon, we'll have it there. And I think we're selling it for like $5 there. I write urban fantasy as Carrow Brown and sci-fi, and then I write Filthy Smut as Faye Black. So if you're trying to figure out which one's which, the names will be different.
Mm.
And then I have no YouTube channel to speak of. I'm sorry, but I do have my evergreen content of getting drunk and bitching about books I don't like. So if that's something that you're into, it's still there. I haven't taken it down.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is I do have a Substack where I talk about writing craft. So if you're somebody who's like, man, I'm thinking about writing or getting into writing, I post about twice a week on Monday and Friday on there where I talk about writing or I relate current events to writing. like the Luigi situation that happened at the start of the year. Like I wrote about how that was the catalyst to like a story and things like that. So I'm very active there. So, but that's me. Thank you for having me. I had a wonderful time.
Oh well, thank you, and I appreciate you for coming. Obviously, a really smart person who's sort of going through her own thing, but I know you'll get through it one way or another because there and it's just you either do or don't, and like when I was with during the COVID times, whatever, you either let it take you or you'll take it, and it's better to be the one that takes it out, even if it ultimately ends for some people where they can't. It's better to work towards trying to take it out than it taking out you, because um no one likes waiting for the end, so don't wait for it.
Yeah.
But anyway, for my end of things, not trying to make it a downer. But for my end of things, whether you're on the Rumble side or YouTube side, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like, sharing the content, leave a comment, or follow, anything that helps with the engagement factor is much appreciated, because not only does it help with being seen more, it also helps in having other people on like Carol, like Dev, like Fairy Mysterious, like so many other people. At the end of the day, I have had on over 270 plus guests, and I'm always looking forward to the people I get to talk to, including Miss Carrow Brown. Regardless of status, regardless if you're a content creator or not, I do not care. What I care about is if you're just willing to say yes to have a conversation. And that's it. That's basically it. It's that easy, that simple, that easy. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? My link is right there. You can find my Twitter, X, email, Discord link in there, but that's mostly just for DMing, because I've heard enough horror stories about servers and stuff on Discord, and I'm not interested in expending majority of my mental bandwidth for that. So it's just there for communication. But you can find my YouTube and Rumble link there. Of course, I am part of Proton Partner, the partner program. You can go there. I am promoting their Proton Limited, which includes a suite of all their stuff. Again, you can get a discount things. Again, if you're into privacy and all that, Proton really does a good job. And even if not, at least go there and give it a look. And if you know what, it's there as an option. It's just there as an option. I know a lot of people are more about privacy or whatever, and all that stuff. So it's really just there. And of course, I am grateful to the Biltong people in Texas. They gave me a code you can use to get like 10% off. I think it's like on the whole of stuff. I'm not sure, but you can always test it out. I mean, 10% is 10%, so why not, right?
Mm-hmm.
But again, they've been good to me. They gave me free samples and stuff, and they didn't have to, and I really didn't ask for it, but they did, and I appreciate them for it. So I always do this sort of like as a kindness back to them, because they're really nice people, and they really make a great product. And I've eaten it. I've eaten some of it, but it's up to you. And they do more than Biltong. They sell UK candy. They sell UK drinks and all this other stuff. It's really worth checking out their website. Even if you just go to look, window shopping, 5-10 minutes, you don't get anything. Hey, guess what? You only wasted 5-10 minutes because you didn't like anything, if that's the case. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, that link's right there if you want. Of course, thank you all the chat who've been in here. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. I will have Adam Gray on again. I've had him on before a few times, so it'll be nice to have him on. But again, thank you all on chat, and again, thank you, Carol Brown. I know you're gonna be busy later today and tomorrow, but I do want to thank you. I mean, again, it's just awesome to get to talk to people no matter who they are, and you certainly are one of a kind. Although I believe you could really knock somebody's head off. I'm not joking about that. But anyway, especially when you come from military, that's when you know.
Just a little bit. But we should chat again next year. That's what we should do.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're obviously going to be busy till then. But I try to bring people back. I do try to bring people back over time. It's just when you build up a list of over 270 people and growing, it gets kind of difficult. And then scheduling stuff too. But anyway, I'm not going to do the scene questions from the hat because she has to get going. But regardless of that, tomorrow 7 p.m. Eastern with Adam Grant, of course. I am the show. Like you saw earlier with the video from Pogo, I play another one called One Day With You. And again,
Oh.
if you want to check out his channel, there's a link down below in the description, and you can go there and you can see all the videos that I use, because he does great work. And although he's not doing anything anymore right now, not right now, he's a master of what he does, and gosh darn it, do I miss him. So anyway, One Day With You by Pogo. Have a great rest of your day, everyone, and I will see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. Bye.